How you doing, everyone? And welcome to Dreadnought Gundam and More on PS4. And this is the mighty Jupiter Arms Tier 5 Athos Destroyer, looking pretty dapper on this special occasion as I go back to my classic Trafalgar skin and add some new threads in the form of the Spartan stripes. Why am I all dressed up? Well, over the weekend there was the Play with the Devs event, in which DN Raydog actually took to the field and was handing out rewards for those that could defeat him in open battle. And Raydog is pretty modest, he's a pretty good player, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity. And while I am talking about good times on the battlefield, I just have to take a moment to congratulate Great Jazzman, Tim Nader, Megastudo, Cobalt in particular, who seems to have a thing for me, Xantios, Fillin' Balloons, Punky Pinko, Up to My Knees, I Got Something for You, and of course Patches and Dr. Bree for making some of the best battles I've had playing Dreadnought in the last couple weeks. I mean, these are some phenomenal battles, no easy going for me, and it's been really fun and challenging, and I want to thank all the players, new and old, for making the game so fun and interesting, and it's just never a dull ride when I log in. I just wanted to say, wow, what a weekend of fighting. It was totally great. But, of course, this is the Dreadnought September release patch notes video here for Dreadnought, and even though it's only a short and sweet patch, some key things were addressed, and on top of all that, Raydog reacted very quickly. Many of us on Dread Chat had noticed that two particular officer briefings, Module Recycler and Destruction Cascade, were bugged, and we told it to Raydog, and wouldn't you know, within a couple hours he had fixed the code, and on Friday put out a quick fix that was probably done within an hour of downtime, and those officer briefings were fixed. So hats off to you, Raydog, for the event this weekend and for the September patch, and of course for fixing those bugs for the officer briefings. We really appreciate all your efforts, Raydog, and we show our love with flack. But let's jump right into the Dreadnought September release patch notes as you watch one of the many matches that we had with Raydog. And of course you'll see I died a couple times, so this was no easy go for me, and it was a very close game indeed. Everyone just fought their heart right out, and it was a wonderful time. But let's jump right in. The first thing we noticed that there is a balance change, and that is drain drones. First of all, I didn't even know drones could be shot at or taken out, but they used to have a health pool of 2,500, but now that's down to 1,500, which means they are approximately in artillery pod territory. So if you see them and you shoot them, they should go away faster so they don't drain your precious energy. Bug fixes, besides the fixes that were fixed on Friday with the officer briefings, they now have fixed Rupture. Now Rupture triggers the debuff before doing damage. So, of course, you want to use Rupture to crack open those dreadnoughts or to add that really cool 20% damage increase to your target. But the weapon you're using to rupture the enemy isn't or wasn't doing the damage with that buff, but now it is, and I think that's just great. Status effect. So, added shield hit to all status effect triggers so that they will still apply even if they are absorbed by the shield. And I'm a little guilty of this, a little slap on the hand for Matthias here, because sometimes when I'm being hunted, Great Jazzman, Cobalt, Patches, Tim Nader, Up to My Knees, a lot of players, when they see me going on a complete tirade, when I'm running amok, they like to pull out their secondary build, usually using Stasis and Module Disruptor. Hint, hint, if I'm turning the tide of a match, those are two key things that'll stop me right in my tracks, and sometimes the disruptor missile would happen to hit my shield, maybe I was blocking a nuke or preventing damage, and sometimes the status wouldn't take effect, and I kept my mouth shut about it, but it's out in the open now, so I've noticed now that I'm hit with disruptor missiles, I get disrupted. Missile proximity, this is something I'm really happy with, and I'm glad that Raydog and the devs have been paying a lot of attention to this. Many of us notice that sometimes you have these missiles, particularly vulture missiles, just spiraling around you, never hitting you and being quite a nuisance, or status effect missiles that sometimes kind of hover at your nose and never hit until you're out in the open when you're ignoring it, and you finally go out in the open and make an attack just to find out that you get drained or stasis, or you get your modules disrupted at the most inopportune moment. So now all missiles have proximity detonation, which really makes sense because missiles all have a warhead. So when they get even just a little close to you, you will either take damage or that status effect debuff will trigger. And that also works for buffs as well. Not that many people use status buffing missiles. In the hangar, there's a slight performance optimization. Now, you will notice that there is no crane, and me and my girlfriend are going to do a short little comedy sketch that we're going to put into that category of my Direct Dreadnought YouTube channel, the short and funny videos about the unionized crane operator in Sinley Bay. But they've removed the crane and removed some of the sparks and effects and wreckages and little fighters around the ships. And that is to reduce the GPU strain when people are in the hangar, because some people are having trouble in the hangar and the hangar may be acting a little buggy for them. And there is a whole list here of hangar troubleshooting, and if you want to go through the list because you are having these problems, I think it's more appropriate to visit the Dreadnought homepage so that you can look at this list and see what fits best for you. But since not everyone is having these problems, I thought I would skip reading the list so that those of you that are can go to the Dreadnought homepage and look it up for yourself. Right now we have a bots section, and I really like having a bots section under our new patches and balance passes because the bots have come a long way and they're getting much better, but I'm glad they're being addressed more regularly, so much so that they have their own category in the Dreadnought patch notes section. So this month the bots, apparently Raydog fixed the bot clone's appearance. I didn't know that it was buggy. But just so you know, some information out there, if you want to hunt or play with the devs, Raydog is a bot, but DN Raydog Carrot Cake is actually Raydog. So when you're doing these and you see Raydog, it's not actually him, that's just the bot. You want to be looking for DN Raydog Carrot Cake, or Carrot C for short, and that's who you want to go after when we do these awesome events. But apparently that's fixed. And I have to say the bots have been performing pretty well as of late. Combat Training Manual. There is now a new Sinley Bay Combat Training Manual that can be viewed or downloaded for free from Gray Box's website. And I think this is really awesome. There have been training manuals out there from many players, particularly on the Dreadnought Gray Box forums. And of course, my most popular video with over 4,100 views is how to be a better Dreadnought player. But I think it's really nice that they're finally putting out a manual for newbies to get the information they need, some good, solid tips to play Dreadnought better so they don't go into the open and totally get slaughtered. But there are still those of you out there who are not using your shields. I just cannot stand blowing people up that have a full energy bar. Please stop it, or you will make Matthias go completely insane. Just use your shields. If you have nothing else to do and you're under a lot of stress in Dreadnought, put power to shields until your energy runs out. Trust me, you will live longer. But there is the new Sinley Bay Combat Training Manual, and if you're not familiar with the game, you should probably check it out. And of course, we have the market update The new Sinley Bay Combat Training Bundle is now available, and boy did I get it, because we have yet another beautiful Jupiter Arms Destroyer skin. And you know that I love my Jupiter Arms, and I love my Jupiter Arms Destroyers. And of course, we've had 2 new Jupiter Arms Destroyer ship skins come out this summer and fall. And I think this one is particularly awesome. Very good color scheme, and it has a new stripe pattern that you can use on your Jupiter Arms Destroyer, and it's a pretty cool looking ship, if I do say so myself. It really has a nice body and bow, and it looks pretty darn awesome. So you might want to check it out. So that about wraps it up for the September patch notes. And I have to say, even though there isn't much in there this time, I really appreciate the effort that devs, particularly Raydog, is putting into the game to keep it alive, to keep it balanced, to give us new content, to give us new things to buy in the market. And I really have to say, thank you, Raydog, for putting that emergency patch out on Friday to fix those officer briefings. For a few days we were looking at it and wondering if, we were noticing, are these officer briefings operating correctly? It's hard to notice in the heat of combat sometimes, but I noticed Destruction Cascade wasn't working the way it should. And when we brought it to Raydog's attention, he went ahead and got everyone involved, whipped up some code, and fixed the problem very quickly and put the patch out within hours. And it only took about 20 minutes to shut the game down and 20 minutes to bring it back on with the correction to that bug. And he actually went on to Dread Chat and asked us if we mind him shutting down the server just briefly on peak hour time. And of course we said yes, because we wanted our officer briefings back, and we were so happy that he took an interest and actually asked us what we wanted, and I think that is just great. So I hope you enjoy the video of everyone playing and trying to hunt down Raydog, and I hope you enjoy the new September patch notes. And of course, I hope you enjoy Dreadnought, keeping it alive, and you will be seeing me play more of Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Operation 2, and hopefully some Star Wars Squadrons in the near future. Well, that's it from me for now, and I'll see you soon in Sinley Bay.